Oop. Hi, everyone. It is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, Monday, and let's just take a moment to arrive and have a little moment of silence in honor of him. Dr. King, being an advocate of equality and freedom for all, kind of goes along with our yama that we're diving in today, this week, and that is Asteya, which means non-stealing. So think about different ways that a person might steal. There might be the obvious things like possessions or food or material objects. But how about energy, time, attention, emotional investment like trust? And I was trying to look up other ways that we might perceive stealing, and I ran across this article in Wanderlust. And it talked about how when you're having a group conversation and somebody shares something wonderful that happened to them, and instead of allowing that person their moment to shine, sort of say, another person cuts in to one-up them with their next best thing. Or that can even happen in the form of someone sharing some sad news and just needing a listening ear, and then another person sort of one-ups them and tells them something worse that happened to them. You might have witnessed that before. Or how about the sense of stealing in which we're unloading to somebody, maybe not even having their permission. Say you just got home from a very stressful day at work and you've got a lot of things to vent about, and so the first person there, maybe it's your cat or maybe it's your loved one, is the person or the being that you pour all of this sort of negative energy into, venting about what happened and how this person did this and said that. And how might we be stealing their so-called sense of peace or their attention, their time? Perhaps they also came home from a stressful day at work. So what is the value of practicing this third yama, non-stealing? As we talked about ahimsa in first week, which is non-violence or non-harm. And then we talked about truthfulness or satya in the second week, truthfulness and integrity. How do those first two yamas play a role in supporting asteya, non-stealing? I like to think of it as how Albert Einstein says that everything is energy. Our thoughts, our physical being, our presence, money, they're all forms of energy. And how do we understand the sort of ecosystems that interplay, all the beings within the ecosystems, not just environment and nature, but balancing of energy? There's constant giving and receiving of energy in so many forms. And so I believe that Asteya is honoring the sense of harmony, the sense of balance. What do you think? And how does Asteya, or what does Asteya mean for you? Let's take a moment to sit with that as we ground in this physical practice today. How might the practice of non-stealing transfer into your physical yoga practice, your discipline of mind and focus, your breathing? Because we can also steal from ourselves, not just from others. Now allow the fullness of your breath, taking the time to observe it to the top, taking the time to fully let it go, letting it cleanse your body. Inhaling through your nose and exhaling deeply through your mouth. One more time, just like that. And so if it's feasible for you, I invite you to close your lips and just breathe through your nose. Focusing on breathing into your belly, you might place your hands on your abdomen so that as you inhale, you feel it expand. And as you exhale, you feel it draw in or contract. Inhale, expand the belly. Exhale, hollow the belly. And we're going to begin breath of fire in a moment, and it's a quicker breath, a passive inhale, an active exhale that is more percussive. The belly bounces in towards the spine like this. So along with this is a Kriya from Kundalini Yoga called Ego Eradicator Kriya. And we extend the arms straight, 60-degree angles. Stick the thumbs out towards the sky and curl the other fingers in, so there's an active stretch that you can feel between your thumbs and your first fingers. Shoulders and face are relaxed, spine is tall, and then you continue with breath of fire. So in this practice, I'm going to set the timer for 1 minute. Ready? Begin. Last 15 seconds. Take a deep breath in. Hold your breath and think of lifting your pelvic floor, drawing your navel in and up. Keep your eyes closed as you exhale to your mouth. Bring your thumbs to touch overhead. And then release your palms face down out to your sides, onto your lap. And just observe for a moment the effects of that. Let's ease into Ujjayi Pranayama, or victorious breathing, where you're sustaining your breath equally through your nose, in and out, while creating a soft whispering sound by gently narrowing the back of your throat. Feeling the full expansion of belly and lungs, and the complete emptying of the breath, building warmth. So as you listen to that sound of your breathing, gently open your eyes if they're closed, and let's come down to all fours. So in today's practice, you'll need either a blanket or beach towel if you all have a hard floor. If you have a carpet, you'll need paper plates, or a large poster board paper if you have that instead, something that can slip onto the surface. So start on hands and knees, and we're going to come into cat-cow with the palms face down to start, just 3 rounds. So index fingers pointing forward, parallel to each other, thumbs wide and flat, knees directly under hips for this one. On your next inhale, glide your spine forward, then coil your chest up, rolling your shoulders down. As you exhale, press through your palms and hollow your belly, dropping your skull to round. Twice somewhere like this. Inhale, lengthen forward, then broaden your chest up. Exhale, contract your belly, tilting your tailbone underneath. Last one like this. Now on this next 3 rounds of cat-cow, come up high onto your fingertips so we can build a little more strength around the wrists. Hollow the center of your palms and get to the very, very tips of your finger pads. And now inhale, glide your chest forward and roll your shoulders back, lifting your chest. Exhale, hollow your belly, doming your back. Keep going for 2 more cycles of breath. Feel a sense of rooting down through your fingertips to lift energy up through the knuckles of your fingers, through the centers of your palms, through your elbows and to your shoulders. At the end of your next exhale, relax to a neutral spine. And then spread your fingers flat again. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, and come into downward facing dog. Now take a few breaths if you'd like to pedal your feet slowly in place. You can warm up the backs of your legs. You might even add with that pedaling a swiveling of your hips, left and right, also stretching the sides of your torso. You might even softly shake and nod your head. Let your neck relax, let your jaw relax. And feel a sense of that rooting down energy up as you spread your fingers and really press through your fingertips, even though your palms are flat. So you're lifting energy from the ground up to your wrists, up to your elbows, up to your shoulders, and letting your shoulder blades settle onto your back ribs, feeling the spaciousness between your skull and your shoulders. Now separating your feet hips distance apart and parallel. Let's land in stillness for another 3 to 5 breaths. As you hold downward dog, steadying your gaze on the ground towards your feet, open up your shoulder blades or broaden them by rotating the outer sides of your upper arms towards the floor. Lift your sitting bones. You can bend your knees any amount and draw your weight down the backs of your legs to your heels, even if they don't touch the earth. Firm your belly in. And as you keep your 2 hips leveled or squared, inhale, raise your right leg slowly behind you. Now come up high on your left toes and exhale, round forward, bending your right knee towards your nose. Softly step your right foot just inside of your right thumb. Set your back knee down and firm down to your right foot, lifting your spine and arms overhead. Coming into a kneeling lunge. Now give your legs the feeling as if you're dragging them towards each other. It helps to keep your 2 hips evenly facing forward, and it gives a sense of stability, again, of that rooting down into the floor to lift up tall through your spine. And on your next inhale, cactus bend your elbows wide apart while sliding your shoulder blades further down your back ribs. Feel a lightness in your neck. Take another breath here. Then breathe in to cross your left elbow over your right elbow with 3 options here in eagle arms. Either hug yourself, hook your thumbs, or wrap your forearms in palms. As you're relaxing your shoulders down and lifting to your crown, let your elbows level up with your shoulders as you're gently pressing your forearms away from your face. Beginning to coil your chest up as though you could press your forearms towards the ceiling, while your belly firms in and your tailbone anchors down towards the earth. Take another inhale here. And as you exhale, backstroke your arms, landing your fingertips on the ground or blocks to frame your right calf. We're coming into a half split, so you may want to have blocks handy here. As you breathe in next, curl up your right toes, flex your right foot, and plug your right thigh bone back deeper into the hip socket, coming into half split. Keep flexing your right foot, your right quadricep, the front muscle of your thigh, and then broaden and lift your chest, firm your belly in towards your back as you're folding. Ardha Hanumanasana. One breath here. Now, if you're using blocks, take them with you at their tallest height. And bending your right knee, tuck your back toes as we transition into modified warrior 3. Setting your hands or blocks 1 foot ahead of your right toes, look past them, and flexing your left foot, lift your left leg parallel to the ground. Now you could bend your right knee any amount here if you're feeling any tightness in your hamstring. But keep your left leg straight as you extend your chest forward. Another inhalation. Into a standing split, exhale, fold towards your right shin. And your left leg may lift a little higher or not. But try to keep your 2 hips leveled here by tacking your right hip back. Turning your left hip forward. Let's take one more cycle of breath. And as you're exhaling, walk your hands back to help you step the ball of your left foot into a high lunge. Hands are on blocks or the floor. Inhaling in your lunge. Plant your hands and step back to downward facing dog. Let's take a couple of deep breaths. So we're setting the route for a breath-led vinyasa flow. Let's take side 2. Keep your hips leveled. Inhale, raise your left leg behind you. As you exhale, lifting onto your right toes, bend your left knee towards your nose. Set your left foot softly inside of left thumb and lower your back knee. Bring the energy into your legs as if you're dragging them towards each other. Create that sense of stability from the bottom up so that you can lift your arms and spine. Anjaneyasana. Taking a breath in, feel how your hips are evenly facing forward. Breath out. Then bending your elbows like a cactus shape, slide your shoulder blades down your back ribs, lift up through the crown of your head. And on your next inhale, cross your right elbow over the left and choose one of 3 options. Hug yourself, hook your thumbs, or wrap your forearms and palms, coiling your chest up. Let your shoulders continue to relax down as you're pressing your forearms towards the sky. Tailbone is anchoring down towards the earth, and belly is firming in towards your back. Take a deep inhale here. As you exhale, backstroke your arms to land fingertips to frame your left calf on blocks or the ground. Inhale, prepare for half split by flexing your left toes up, straightening your left leg by drawing the hip back, lifting your chest. Exhale, fold into half split. And as you're bowing, firm your belly towards your back body in support of lengthening it. Let's take another breath here. If you're using blocks, take them on their tallest height and bend your left knee as you inhale. Tuck your right toes into a lunge, transition to modified warrior 3. Landing your blocks or hands 1 foot ahead of your left toes. Flex your right foot as you raise your right leg parallel to the floor. You may bend your left knee any amount to help with that as you're broadening your chest forward and squaring your 2 hips. Let's take another deep breath as you're lengthening. Standing splits. Any amount as you exhale, fold closer to your left shin. Your right leg might rise a little higher, might not. This may change. But do make sure that your right hip is the same height as your left hip. Turning your right hip downward, tacking your left hip back. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, step the ball of your right foot back into a high lunge. Fingertips on the ground or your blocks. Another breath in. Exhale, step back to downward facing dog. And let's pause here for 3 deep breaths, setting the pace for now a continuous breath-led movement. Take a deep breath in. Softly through your nose, whisper it out. Let's begin. Inhale, raise your right leg. Come up high in the left toes. Exhale, bend right knee towards nose. Set the foot inside of right thumb. Back knee down. Inhale, lift your arms into a kneeling lunge. Exhale, cactus bend, your elbows apart. Inhale, cross left elbow over right in your choice of eagle arms, lifting your chest. Exhale, back stroke your hands to frame your right ankle. Inhale, flex right toes up, straighten your right leg back. Prepare, lifting your chest. Exhale, fold into half split. Inhale, bend the right knee, tuck the back toes, transfer your weight forward into modified warrior three, flexing your left foot. Exhale, bow into your right shin, standing split. Inhale, step left foot back into a high lunge. Exhale, step into downward facing dog. Pause one cycle of breath. Side two. Inhale, raise your left leg. High on your right toes. Exhale, bend left knee towards nose. Softly land left foot inside of left thumb. Lower the back knee. Inhale, rise up, kneeling lunge. Exhale, cactus bend, your elbows apart. Inhale, cross right elbow over left. Eagle arms, lifting your forearms towards the sky. Exhale, backstroke your hands to frame your left ankle. Inhale, prepare, flex the left toes, scissor left hip back to straighten the leg. Exhale, fold in, half split. Inhale, bend your left knee, drag your right toes forward, entering modified warrior three. Exhale, fold in to standing split. Inhale, step ball of right foot back into a high lunge. Exhale, returning to downward facing dog. 3 breaths. So let's try this one last round in these sort of preparatory postures that will get us to a deeper vinyasa. Here we go. Inhale, raise your right leg. High on your left toes. Exhale, bend knee to nose. Land the right foot forward, kneeling lunge. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, cactus bend. Inhale, left elbow over right, eagle arms towards the sky. Exhale, backstroke your hands to frame your right ankle. Inhale, flex right toes up, straighten the leg to prepare. Exhale, bow, half split. Inhale, bend the right knee, shift forward into modified warrior three. Exhale, fold into standing split. Inhale, softly step ball of the left foot back to a high lunge. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. 1 cycle of breath to slow it down. Last side. Inhale, raise your left leg. Exhale, high on your right toes, bend knee to nose. Softly land the foot forward, kneeling lunge. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, cactus bend. Inhale, right elbow over left, eagle arms towards the sky. Exhale, backstroke your hands to frame your left ankle. Inhale, flex your left toes and straighten your left leg to prepare. Exhale, fold, half split. Inhale, drag forward into modified warrior three. Exhale, fold in to standing split. Inhale, land ball of the right foot back to high lunge. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Smoothing it out.
And from here, walk your hands back towards your feet, folding over your legs. Lift your toes, you might bend your knees, and flip your palms face up under the soles of your feet. As you're stepping on your palms, see if you can get your toes to meet the inner creases of your wrists in this outer wrist and forearm stretch. Inhale, lean forward and broaden your chest. Exhale, hinge even deeper, let your skull fall. One more time. Inhale, press your heart through the gates of your arms. Keep lengthening as you exhale to fold. Drop your skull. Take about 3 breaths here, softly moving your head to relax your neck and jaw, perhaps even fluttering your lips, lifting your shoulder bone away from your neck. Opening up your back body as well. Then slip your palms out from underneath. Bring your hands to your hips. Point your elbows towards the sky, slightly bend your knees. And as you press down to your feet and firm your belly in, inhale, lead with your chest to rise up. So let's play with this vinyasa flow just a little bit more. We did have a request for some core strengthening. So grab your blanket. You want to make it not so thick. You want it easy to slip onto your floor. So if it's not a blanket, it's paper plates or maybe some poster board. And then fold your mat in half. Place your blanket right up against the back edge of it, just like that. And then come to stand at the top of your blanket, toes close to your mat. Feet hips distance apart, spread your toes, ground to the 4 corners of your feet, standing in mountain pose. Take a couple deep breaths here as your palms are facing forward and your tailbone is rooting towards the ground between your heels. The crown of your head is rising towards the sky and your shoulders are softening down. Let's take half sun salutation twice first. Inhale, raise your arms overhead and feel as you're pressing through your feet, you're lifting a bit higher, look up. Exhale, hinge forward. You can bend your knees any amount to maintain the feeling of a flat back. Press into the ground of your shins. Inhale, lengthen halfway up. Keep your weight forward and exhale, hinge deeper. Press into the earth to inhale, rise up, palms touch. Exhale, trace your thumbs down your center line. One more. Inhale, circle your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold again. Press into the ground to inhale, rise tall. Exhale, back to mountain pose. And so adding on. Inhale, circle your arms up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, land your palms flat onto the rear edge of your mat and slide your feet back, riding your blanket or paper plates, come into plank. Shoulders are right over your wrists. If you need, put your knees on the floor. Otherwise, you're imagining that you're trying to pull the mat and the blanket towards each other, staying in plank. Take another inhale as we slow this round down. And then exhale, shift forward, bend your elbows 90 degrees to hug your side ribs, and come all the way down for cobra or flip your toes into upward dog. Breathing in, coil your chest up. Breathing out from your plank pose, drag your toes towards the heels of your palms, entering your forward fold. Inhale, press the ground of your shins to lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold. Root down through your feet to inhale, rise all the way. Exhale, mountain pose. Let's try 2 more rounds of that. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway. As you plant your hands flat on your mat, you could bend your knees if needed. Exhale, slide your feet back to plank. Shoulders over wrists, then inhale, glide the shoulders forward about a foot. Bend your elbows to hug your side ribs. You decide cobra or upward facing dog. Breathe in. Hollow your belly to help you drag your toes back towards the mat as you exhale. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold. From down through your feet, inhale, rise tall, palms touch. Exhale, mountain pose. Last time. Inhale, circle your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Palms on the mat. Exhale, drag your feet back to plank pose. From plank, inhale, shift forward. Exhale into chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward facing. Exhale, slide your feet towards your hands. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold. Root down to inhale, rise. Exhale, mountain pose. Take a moment to set your left hand on the middle of your chest, your right hand on your lower belly. Pause and take a couple more slower breaths. Nice, and then from here, let's unfold the mat, bring it back to standard size, put the blanket aside, and we'll meet in downward facing dog. Downward facing, come on down to your knees. Take your 2 blocks. We're gonna give our triceps a stretch for a moment and making a train of those blocks on their second level or medium height, crossing your mat just in front of you. Extend your arms forward. Rotate your triceps towards the ground and place your elbows exactly shoulders distance apart on the blocks. Press your fingertips into each other, hollow the center of your palms, and walk your knees behind your hips, enough so that you can trace your thumbs down the back of your skull towards your neck and lower your head towards the ground. Make sure that your elbows stay shoulders distance and don't widen apart. Let your shoulder blades slide away from your neck. As you sink your chest towards the ground, lift your navel towards your back. Draw your 2 sitting bones back. Let's take about 4 more deep breaths here. And then hollow your belly to rise, making your way back to downward facing dog, putting the blocks aside. And when you arrive in downward dog, feet hips width apart, keep your hips leveled again and inhale, raise your right leg behind you. Come high onto your left toes and exhale, bend your right knee towards your nose, stepping forward into a high lunge. Stay high on the ball of your left foot as you bend your left knee, rising to stand in crescent pose. Feel your tailbone anchored downward as you're lifting your frontal hip bones, scissoring your right hip back as you're sending your left hip forward. Front knee is bent right over the heel. Perhaps you're straightening your left leg. From here, cactus, bend your elbows apart. And this time, cross your right elbow over the left. Take your version of eagle arms and soften your shoulders down. Gently press your forearms forward. Now begin to tilt your torso forward just to hover your belly off of your right thigh. Continue to scissor your right hip back. Gaze past the front edge of your mat. Breathe. Shifting your weight towards your right foot, lift your torso and wrap your left leg over the right, coming into full eagle pose. Whether you flex your left foot or tuck the toes behind the right calf and scissor the left hip back. Sit a little lower if you can. Spine upright, shoulders relaxed. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now, as we enter Warrior 3, you could keep your arms in eagle, or you could join your hands together at your heart, or any other variations of Warrior 3. Flex your left foot and press your left heel behind you until your left leg is parallel to the floor. Lengthen your torso forward and level your two hips, lifting your navel towards your spine. About 3 more breaths in Virabhadrasana 3. Remember, you have the option of modifying it by lowering your hands on blocks or the ground in front of you. We're going to softly and slowly make our way to Warrior 2, cartwheeling the arms apart and landing the left foot towards the rear of your mat. Aligning your right heel to intersect the arch of your left foot. Wrap your right sitting bone under and firm the top of your left thigh bone back. Steadying your gaze just past your right hand. Let's take about 4 more deep breaths. Entering side angle pose. Keep your legs in Warrior 2. Make sure your right sitting bone continues to roll underneath. And slide your pelvis back, reach your right hand forward. Now, option 1, lower your right forearm onto your right thigh to push off of as you raise your left arm up. Option 2, grab a block and place it just outside of your right calf, right beneath your right shoulder, to land your right hand on. Or fingertips on the ground. Make sure that you're lengthening the right side of your torso rather than compressing it by tacking your right hip crease towards your left outer heel. As you're spiraling your chest towards the sky, turn your left tricep to face your left wall and extend your left arm overhead towards your front wall in extended side angle pose, about 4 more breaths. Repeat the Parshvakonasana. From down through both feet, inhale, windmill your arms back to Warrior 2 and reverse it, Peaceful Warrior. Exhale into plank, lower into a vinyasa, which could be cat-cow, taking rest whenever you need. As you're arriving in downward dog, let's take about 3 more deep breaths. And keeping your hips level, begin with your feet hips width apart. Inhale, raise your left leg. Come up high on your right toes and exhale, bend your left knee towards your nose. Gently land your left foot into a high lunge. Bend your right knee, press down through your feet and inhale, rise up to crescent pose. Feel your tailbone anchor downward as your frontal hip bones slightly rise, sending your right outer hip forward and tacking your left outer hip back. And you might also begin to straighten your right leg. Take a deep breath and cactus bend your elbows apart. Exhale, cross left elbow over right, choosing your eagle arms. Let your shoulders soften down, elbows align with your shoulders, and forearms gently press away from your face. Now feel your navel hugging in towards your spine and feel the strength of your right heel pressing back, left hip scissoring back as you hover forward to a diagonal. Steady your gaze ahead of your mat and begin to shift your weight entirely into your left foot, lifting your torso. Wrap your right leg over the left. Eagle pose. As you bend both knees, You're either flexing your right foot outside of your left calf or tucking the toes behind it and scissoring your right hip slightly back. As you steady your gaze, let's take at least 3 more breaths in Garudasana. Entering Warrior 3, you could keep your arms in eagle, you could join your hands in prayer, you could reach for the ground or blocks. Flex your right foot and extend your right leg slowly behind you, horizontal. Leaning your torso horizontally forward too. Level your 2 hips. Continue to lift your navel towards your spine. Deep breaths. Softly land your Warrior 2 here. Cartwheel your arms apart and step your right foot all the way back, aligning left heel to arch of right foot. Feel how your left outer hip wraps beneath you as you firm the top of your right thigh bone back. Let's take about 4 more breaths. Keep your legs in Warrior 2. Slide your pelvis back, reach your left hand forward. First option in side angle is to lower your left forearm to your left thigh. Right arm towards the sky. Feel that you're directing your tailbone towards your right outer heel. Second option, take a block, place it right beneath your left shoulder, outside of your left leg, and firm arm and leg against each other. Third option, come onto your left fingertips on the ground. Make sure that you're not compressing your left side body here. Rotating your right tricep slightly to face your right wall. Extend your right arm overhead towards the front of the room and spiral your chest towards the sky. Continue to wrap your left outer hip under. 4 last breaths. Extended side angle pose. Utthita Parsvakonasana. Firm down through both feet. Inhale, rise through Warrior 2. Flip the left palm overhead into reverse or peaceful warrior. Exhale your hands to the floor for 1 last vinyasa, or meet a straightened downward dog. Three to 5 deep breaths. So for about a minute, take your choice of dolphin pose or headstand if you practice the latter normally without a wall or right where you are. Lowering onto your forearms, interlacing your fingers, and taking your version of dolphin or headstand. In either posture, feel space and lightness in your neck. Root down through your forearms to lift your shoulders up away from your neck. And when you feel ready, we'll meet in child's pose. So when you do arrive in child's pose, slide your arms back, and if you can reach, interlace your fingers behind your lower back. Lifting your forearms away from your back as you're opening your chest. Take a deep belly breath in. A long sigh with a tongue out, eyes wide. One more lion's breath to cool off. Inhale deeply. Mouth and eyes wide, eyes crossed if you like, tongue out. And then plant your hands alongside your knees. Roll your spine upright as you breathe in. Backstroke your right hand to the ground behind your pelvis. Raise your left arm up. Take a deep breath as you feel your spine tall. Exhale, twist to your right. Cross the back of your left hand towards the outside of your right thigh. And perhaps look over your right shoulder. Couple more breaths. And as you exhale next, release. Backstroke your left hand behind your pelvis, right arm up. Take a deep breath, lengthen your spine. Exhale, twist to your left. Press the back of your right hand towards the outside of your left thigh. And maybe look over your left shoulder. Melting your shoulder blades down your back. One more deep breath in. And exhale, unwind. So we're going to set up for Supta Virasana, supine hero's pose, which will give a nice opening to the fronts of our thighs, hips, chest, and shoulders. So you'll want to grab your 2 blocks just in case. Place them behind you, perhaps one at their tallest height, one at their medium height, like we do in a restorative supported back bend. Now, you may want to use a blanket here. So if you're sitting on your shins in hero's pose now, or a variation of it, and your knees are feeling sensitive, you can take a blanket. The thicker you fold it, the more support you're giving your knees, and take that smooth folded part of the blanket right up against the backs of your knees and sit like that. Otherwise, you're either sitting right onto your heels or moving your calves aside and framing your hips with your ankles. So you're sitting completely on the floor. Make sure that your toes are pointing back, not turning out to the sides. This will help keep the alignment of your knees safe. Have your knees no wider apart than hips distance. And if you're not using the blanket for your knees, you might even want to drape it over your props, make them a little cushier, a little higher, like a recliner, and then begin to walk your hands back very slowly, taking deep breaths here through your nose. Feel that you're lengthening your tailbone down and forward, lifting your frontal hip bones slightly towards your bottom ribs, like the same action in crescent lunge. To whatever degree you're leaning back, if you reach the blocks or the props, then adjust them accordingly so that perhaps one catches your skull and one catches the area right under your shoulder blades. And for some of you, you may not even use props here, and feel free to lie down all the way or not lean back at all, just feeling into how your body is responding and how you're honestly listening to that. So in whatever variation of Supta Virasana you've now landed in, let's stay there for another 5 deep breaths. Taking your time to come up, press your hands onto the ground and slowly roll your spine upright, back to sit. And then let's move the props aside from behind you. Extend your legs straight forward, come into stick pose or Dandasana. Separate your feet here, hips distance, flex them, round your sitting bones. And you could choose to either wrap a strap around the balls of your feet or extend your arms up as we prepare to fold in Paschimottanasana. So hug in your belly and the bottom of your front ribs. Lift up by rooting down. Take a deep breath. And then extending your chest forward, exhale to bow. Now, if you're not using a strap, grab onto something, whether it's the backs of your legs or you're clasping your big toes with your peace fingers, and feel your shoulder blades slide down your back ribs. Broaden your chest and lift your sternum forward as you're folding deeper. About 4 more breaths. As you inhale next, lifting from your chest, slowly rise up to Dandasana again. Let's come all the way down onto our backs, bending your knees. Step your left foot onto the ground and turning out your right leg, cross your right ankle over your left thigh and flex your right foot into a figure 4 shape. Thread the needle. You could stay here and press your right hand against your inner right thigh, or thread your right hand between your thighs and with 2 hands catch hold of your left leg, slowly bringing it closer to your belly. Relax your shoulders, rest your head on the ground or a prop, and let's take about 3 more breaths. Then set your 2 feet onto the ground. Turn out your left thigh and cross your left ankle over your right thigh. Flex your left foot and either stay here pressing left palm against inner left thigh, or thread your left hand between your thighs and catch hold of your right thigh or shin with 2 hands. Bringing your right leg closer as you continue to splay your left thigh open. And as you uncross your legs, draw your 2 bent knees together, circling your thighs together and apart as you decide your last inversion, a cooling one. Some options might be to bend your knees apart into happy baby, root your tailbone and shoulders onto the floor. Lift your legs straight up. Maybe you have a wall or a chair to place your calves on or against, or come into a supported shoulder stand. I like to use a couple of blocks both on their lowest height and place them right underneath the flat part of the lower back and lift the legs. And if you normally practice shoulder stand and know how to do so safely, you could take that instead. So let's allow another minute in a cooling way to lift your legs up higher than your hearts. Here, if your hands are free, like you're not in shoulder stand or plow, you may want to circle your hands at your wrists, perhaps making fists with your hands or interlacing your fingers. Just giving your wrists and forearms some release and stretch. Allow a few breaths to gradually lower your body, setting it up for complete rest. Feel free to use any of your props to help your body feel supported and comfortable. Like the weight of a blanket across your pelvis can feel really grounding and nurturing. And as you find that position of rest for Shavasana, closing your eyes, perhaps take one last deep, long exhalation to your mouth. And then allow a moment to mentally scan your body from your soles to your crown and feel into each part, making sure that it is at rest. You've given it permission. And so for those of you that would like to join me in 5 minutes sitting in silent meditation, begin with small movements, easing your body out of stillness, and gradually make your way up to a comfortable seat. Watching the inner workings of your mind as you continue to breathe naturally. I'm going to go ahead and set the timer for 5 minutes. Slowly, as you keep your eyes closed, let your breath fill up your lungs, your belly, as you sit a little taller. And exhale completely through your mouth. Again, feel your belly expand, your chest rise. This time bringing your palms to meet at your chest. Exhale deeply, bowing in. So how can we build self-awareness in that we value harmony and balance of energy exchange? Noticing ways or old ways that we may or may have stolen. Integrating the practice of Asteya, or non-stealing. Let's close with one Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.